Welcome back to Be the CEO podcast. Be the CEO.
Be the CEO.
That's it.
What does that all mean? That's it, man. Just be it. Just be it. Don't think about it. Just
Yeah,
be it.
exactly.
Just be the CEO, damn it.
Well, it's funny because when people first start their business, they have that mentality. I'm just going to do it. Like they just have the energy. I'm just going to do it. And then, it's scary. It's really hard to leave like a 9 to 5 job, start a company, and then they just do it. And then they start having success and they're like, I don't know if I should do it.
Right? And sometimes they don't know how to break a work away from all the doing it and all the work and everything that goes into it. And they don't take the time to go lead the company, to lead the business, to be the CEO.
Yeah, you gotta be in the charge of all the things, in the charge of your life, in the charge of your time, in the charge of your business, in the charge of your clients or employees. And you were, like, you wouldn't have started your business. You wouldn't have left that corporate job if you didn't have that ability. It's just hopefully through this podcast that we have here and any of the content you see of ours, especially on LinkedIn, Adam Thomas, give me a follow. Adam Thomas Hurd, give me a follow. Especially through all of that stuff, like hopefully you can get a little bit of inspiration to be like, hey, I do have that, and start again, start anew. And that's really what it is. It's you changing from what you were into what you're trying to become. And that doesn't stop. It's not like you hit this point in your life where you're like, oh, it's all good. I'm good. It's like, no, it always changes. So we went on a little tangent there. What we do here is we're going to share some posts that have inspired us, right? We're talking about inspiration today. These things that inspired us to either get really annoyed at someone's post or be like, yup, I like exactly what they're saying. So let's start with you today, Tom. What do you got?
All right, man. This is awesome. So this post just like hit me in so many different ways. So let me put it up here first. Let me share it, and we'll get rocking and rolling. So this post is from somebody on LinkedIn that I don't even follow yet. She just came up in my feed, and she helps working moms to land their dream job. And she was talking about work life balance. And one of our beliefs is work life balance doesn't exist. It's about work life harmony. But I'm gonna read the post and I'll break it down at different points that I either agreed with or struggled with. But she says, I keep hearing people say work life balance isn't real. And I would agree with that. They're telling me it's some made up idea expectation that there's no possible way of achieving, sets up for failure from the beginning. That's true. And honestly, in my IMO,
In
what's
my
IMO?
opinion,
In my opinion, thank you. That's bullshit. Balance does not mean your life is split 50-50. It doesn't mean every day feels smooth. It doesn't always feel perfect. It doesn't mean it doesn't change. Balance means that you make an intentional decision about the system, structures, and flow of your everyday life. Well, I agree that it's about intentional decisions, but I don't know if balance is the word. She's saying it means you set boundaries. It means you choose to walk away with something that's no longer serving you. It means saying no. It means carving out the time that you need. Yeah, those are all things within work-life harmony. I don't know if it's necessary balance. So here's the thing that I really really would disagree with her on is, like balance is not the word I would use. Balance is when you think of a balancing a scale, there has to be equal weight on both sides of that scale to be balanced, right? When you balance a chemistry equation, going back to my days of chemistry and my medical background, you had to have the right elements on each side of the equation so that the equation balanced. Otherwise, if there was an imbalance, it would explode. So I don't know, like balance, everybody is interpreting this word very differently. We talk about work life harmony because it's not about pitting things one against the other. It's not trying to balance a scale. It's not trying to balance an equation. What it's trying to do is be intentional with where you direct your attention over the course of the day, over the course of your week. Yes, I agree that you have to set boundaries and that you have to, as she says, carve out time that you need and walk away from something that's no longer serving you. But those are all things that bring you harmony. They don't bring you balance. If you were to put extra weight on one side of a bridge, what would happen to that bridge? That bridge would collapse. So if you have all of your boundaries and you have all of the time for you and you have all of this stuff sitting on one side of the bridge, the rest of the bridge is going to collapse. It's not going to be able to sustain that because you're causing an imbalance. But at the same time, it's about the distribution of how you go about your day and where you intentionally direct your intentions and your attention. And that's what we mean by work life harmony. It's this fluidity that you build into your day based on attention, where you build it into your life based on attention. And here is a very big difference between an employee mindset and people who are self employed and need to be CEOs of their work and at home. Okay. Employees seek work-life balance. They wanna clock in from 9 to 5, and after 5, they want nothing to do with that business. They don't wanna work extra hours. They don't wanna be bothered on the weekend. They don't wanna be bothered at night when they're at home, and that does require boundaries. That form of balance does require boundaries. But as someone who is self-employed and trying to build a business and be the CEO at work and home, you can't have balance. It is an impossibility. Yes, you could still set boundaries. Adam and I set boundaries every single day. We know when we're going to go pick up our kids and when we cannot see that client. And then we have times like this, like we record this podcast at 6:30 at night. Everybody else is having dinner. But this is the time that we record it. We record it from 6:30 to 7:30. We do 2 at a time sometimes to make it work. But you have to recognize that if you want to have work-life balance like an employee when you're self-employed, that definitely does not exist. It is about work-life harmony. It's about setting your day with the boundaries so that your attention is driven to those parts of your day. Like working out in the morning. I work out Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7:30 to 9 o'clock. I'm at the gym. That is my attention and my intention, but the boundary is at 9 o'clock that stops, and then from 9 to 9:30, I have to get ready because our first client is typically at 9:30 in the morning. And then we move to other parts of our day. But balance in a employee mindset is that you're not gonna be bothered at night and on the weekends. And ideally, as a business owner, as somebody who's self-employed, you're never gonna have that. You're never gonna have that balance. That doesn't exist. It's about what you do according to your attention every single day and what your intention is, where to direct your attention. So that post kinda, like, just got me a little annoyed, but really demonstrated really well the difference between an employee mindset versus someone who is self-employed. And I just thought it was really important to share that with all of you. So, what do you think, Adam?
I think from the beginning of that post, they were fighting against it. They're like, "Ah, there's no such thing. That's bullshit, right? You can have balance and do this." And here's the thing is, people build frameworks and they work really, really hard. So that person might have worked extremely hard at making balance work for them. And they're really pissed off now that the world is out there saying, like, don't strive for that. And maybe that person made it work for them. And here's the thing, whether it's balance or harmony or anything else, like when we can make something work for us, it doesn't matter what other people say. But the concept of work-life balance, as Tom and I look at it, is a terrible thing to strive for. If you've made it work, great. But if you're like after that, it's something that you shouldn't try to build because not that it's impossible, but it's not useful. And you end
Mm,
up resenting the thing that you're not giving time, energy, effort to. You're like, "Oh, man,
right,
I really should, I could, I would, I wish," and that's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling to be like, I have to stop doing this just so I can be in balance." It's like, man, if you're in flow the other day, I was in flow with something I was doing, and my poor little puppy had to go to the bathroom, and guess what? He had an accident in my office because I wasn't paying attention because I was locked in. So I was not in
right.
balance with being a good pet dad, But afterwards, that led to some good experience with me and him. I got to be like, "Oh, it's okay, my bad." Da, da, da. We went out. He chased some squirrels. Funny story. He chased a squirrel onto me. The squirrel literally jumped on my leg. It was the craziest thing ever. My wife and kids loved me telling that story. But that's the thing is what does your ability to have the harmony give to you? As Tom said, we record these at 6:30. My family just came home with dinner. They are eating without me. And I'm like, I'll get to that later. But because I'll get to that later, I'm going to get to spend time with my daughter who's at gymnastics, which I normally wouldn't get. So you don't know what you get out of the harmony. That's why we use that word because it's like music. It's like playing jazz, man. And you don't know that piano player plays a few extra notes. You're like, oh, that was kind of interesting. I liked that. When it's balanced, it's so rigid and like, I have to stop. I can't. What were we going to
Yep.
say, Tom?
Yeah, that's a beautiful analogy. Like, when there's just the melody, it's like jingle bells, jingle all the way, right? And then when you put harmony in, it's like this beautiful jingle bells. Like you get it's such an enhancement to things. So why fight the rigidity of a balanced way of living where you're pitting things against each other and just focus on adding the harmony and creating the harmony because it's going to enhance your life in so many different
I love
ways.
it, man.
So many different ways.
All right, let's get into what mine is. So this is it's going to be short and sweet, but this post that I found is from someone. Maybe you know him, maybe you don't know him. His name is Brad Lee. Give me a comment in the comments here if you know who Brad Lee is. I'm very curious. Who knows Brad Lee and who does not?
Mm.
But he's a fun guy, so he pops up here and there with stuff. And his post was short and sweet. It says, "Sometimes I wonder if the people who unfollowed me in 2020 are starting to realize I was right." And then on the top, the
Mm.
caption says, "I forgive you. Come back." So it's really, really funny. Like when I saw this post, it made me think of all the people when Tom and I started that we recognize and we're like, holy, we should really reach out to these people because they could use what we're doing because what we have now wasn't in existence then. And it made me think, like, I wonder if those people back then are realizing we were right, that they probably could have used some coaching. And it ties
Mhm.
back to like not a philosophy, but a feeling, a thing that Tom and I have really embraced, which is fail faster. Right? Like you got to try
Mhm.
stuff. We don't know if things will work out. We have no clue. We didn't know if this business would work out. I didn't know if having a puppy would work out. Like these things work out because you work them out. Okay? So when you have this ability to fail faster like we have, like many of our clients have, that gives you the knowledge that you need to make the next decisions. And when Bradley said like I'm wondering if those people who unfollowed me, and for us, I wonder if those people who kind of said, "No, I can't even consider doing this now." I wonder if they're realizing we were right. I started to look at this, and Tom, I looked at in my mind, I looked at like where are those people at that we thought we could help, and they stopped. They either stopped and they're like, "No,
Ooh.
I can't continue with you," or I can't even start with you. And I look at them, and most of them are in the same exact place when we said, "Hey, I think you need some help." And it's like,
Yep.
so what it like if you're not willing to do something about it, why would you expect it to change? And I feel bad for those people. That's where I'm at is like I really just I worry about them and I wish I can get through to them, but for some people it's just, "Hey, it is what it is." And I'm sure in whatever business you're running out there, you've had those people where you're like, "Ugh, if I could only get my hands around them, I can change their lives. I can make their business simpler. I can make their lives better. I can allow them to have more fun in whatever it is you do. I could fix their taxes. I could, make their investments work better. I could, heal their body. Whatever it is, I know you have that feeling. And this is why that post resonated with me is because it started to make me feel bad. Like, oh man, there's all these missed opportunities and I
Well,
can't I
yeah,
can't let that
that's
get to me, right? You can't change everybody. You can only change the people that are willing to accept the change. And we've even recently had a client of ours that that stopped working with us, and I said I was very happy he made that decision. He paid for a program that came to an end and he didn't want to continue on. And I told him I was relieved because this person was uncoachable. And it didn't
Mm,
mean they were uncoachable when we did the work, but moving forward, there was nothing else we could do for them. Like they were just stuck in a position. So sometimes, even though you can't make the difference in someone's life that you want to, you have to accept that they're in a situation that doesn't allow for that. And that's what this made me realize. It's like, huh, all those people that we know, Tom, man, if we could only get our hands on them, what we could do for them.
well, there's such this is where you have to be willing to fail, right? And a lot of people are just not willing to fail. They're not willing to experience the lessons from failure. So they wind up in the same place because everything that they work towards is not failing, right? Instead of failing. Like you and I work towards failure every single day. Sometimes it feels like we're just like, okay, if this doesn't work, then we'll do this thing, and if it doesn't work, we'll do that thing, and that's the risk that you have to be willing to take as someone who's self-employed. You have to be willing to fail, and the faster that you learn how to fail, the faster you reach and achieve some successes. And I think that's what's the saddest part. Like when we go out and we whether we're at a networking group or we're in a conversation at a dinner with somebody and we recognize that holy cow, if this person was just willing to fail and not be so afraid of it, we could help this person propel themselves 10 times further in 6 months than they're going to get in the next 6 years. And that's really what we're talking
Right.
about here. And that's what that post is hitting for me, right? I could think of some clients too that we had to fire because they just were not heeding the advice because they were so afraid of failing.
Right.
And if you're going to pay for advice, take the advice. If you're not going to take the advice, why pay for it then? Then stop doing it, because you have to it's and this is an ego thing. This is such an ego thing, and this happens to a lot of people who are self-employed, right? You think that you're going to be able to do it all when you go out on your own and you're running your business and you're doing the thing, that you don't leave any room for failure, because there is no room for failure in that ego based mindset of, well, I know what I'm doing and I'm going to keep doing it this way. And people have different approaches to things, but there's got to be a willingness to fail and an avoidance of that fear of failure. And that's what I think holds a lot of people back or holds them stuck in that place, so to speak.
Oh, emotions, emotions, emotions. All right, man.
Yeah, well, that's what.
That's what business is all about. It's full of emotions, and if you are a person who started your business, congratulations. It's not easy.
Yep.
It's really not.
Welcome to the club.
And that's one of our other philosophies is business and life are simple. They're just not easy. Well, if you're listening to this, if you're that person, you're the type of person that chose hard. So congratulations to you. If you ever need any help, just go to BeThe.CEO. We're doing tons of stuff. We have networking meetings that are free. We have plenty of courses that will not cost you anything. We have courses that are good for sales that will cost you something. But what we're really after here is helping those people go to the next level. When you're ready to really make that pivot and go to that next level, that next phase of your evolution of your business and your life, that's what we're here to do. We give two things. We give people the agency, the ability to do that, and we give them the certainty so they understand exactly why they're doing these things. That's it. It's a beautiful thing that we get to do each and every day. So thank you very much for watching, for listening, for engaging with us. We really, really do appreciate it. Hope this helps you. If it has, let us know. Let us know somewhere. Reach out to us on LinkedIn. You can find me at Adam Thomas Hurd on LinkedIn. Tom Marino. You can go to Atomic Business Coaching. We're pretty easy to find. So let us know, man, because we've been doing this for 2 years or more, 3 years. And we'd love to know what you think about all this, what you'd like from us, how this has impacted you, or if you think we're full of shit. Anyway, we really do appreciate it. So thanks.